Welcome back. Let's bring you other news making headlines. Now, this week, both the Madlanga Commission and Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee investigating KZN top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's criminal infiltration in the judicial system had their work cut out for them. While the Madlanga Commission heard alleged political fixer Brown Mokgotzi's testimony riddled with rhetoric from a Hollywood blockbuster. This was, of course, about spies, CIA recruits, and, of course, handlers. Meanwhile, at the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee, policing research and activist Mary de Haas faced a tough time, bustering through a pounding of questions from MPs about her alleged involvement in the working of SAPS. Now, let's get some analysis on those proceedings from crime expert Thabang Bogopa. Thank you so much for your time, Thabang. We've got one witness spinning tales of CIA agents, handlers, and another refusing to reveal their sources. What does this tell us? I think two questions about the depth of political interference within the works of SAPS, but also about the credibility of these two individuals who are somewhat so close to the now on special leave Minister Newzroom Afrika. Thabang, are you with us? All right, we're battling to get Thabang to respond to us there. But while we try and work on getting him to respond to us, you would have understood that even during that testimony, we knew that Brown Mokgotzi from the Commission was telling us that, in fact, the credibility of his testimony is certainly in question. Thabang, you've joined us now. We're back on the line. We're talking about what we heard coming from the Commission as well as the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee. Two witnesses, Brown Mokgotzi as well as Mary de Haas, both of them at some point refusing to reveal their sources, speaking about, not having the evidence essentially to back up, ultimately their testimonies heard as hearsay. What does this tell us about the depth of interference within SAPS and those that are close to Newzroom Afrika?
Okay, let me focus on the depth of the interference. I think we all are aware that since I think around 2007, there's been deficiencies in the intelligence services, particularly of the South African police services. So you have people who do not have clear roles. They do not understand whether they are informers or they are actually agents of the state. And actually, the oath and also the binding constraints of being an informer. You have informers who choose to come out and blow their own cover. But then you also have people who are sounding like informants, but they ended up wanting to take the roles of their own handlers. They want to come and publicly investigate matters, whereas that is not the role of an informer. And on the issue of Mary de Haas, I think Mary de Haas just threw herself into the deep end, and she should have reserved herself to say, this is so far that I'm an activist perhaps against extrajudicial killings or extrajudicial activities by police, but then accept that the South African police services are the ones that are mandated. So you report either to the SAPS, you report either to the IPID, and allow them to execute their official mandates, because a legal mandate is not something that you can, when you want, put it or infer on yourself.
Absolutely. And, Thabang, there was a particular moment during the commission, and let's focus a little bit on Mokgotzi's evidence and his testimony before the Madlanga Commission. You speak about informants that, blow their own covers and come out, some that act like their own handlers. It becomes very difficult to start to believe parts of Mokgotzi's testimony, given the fact that there was one particular moment where he, in fact, conceded to the fact that he lied under oath. This was when he said he was an employee within the Ministry of the Police. The commissioners there saying it's going to be quite difficult from here forth then to take anything that you say as the truth, given the fact that you've done this. Talk to us a little bit about the extent of that going forward.
So in so much that I will bracket my knowledge of clandestine operations, I will divulge that from the testimony, it does sound like at some stage, Mr. Mokgotzi got so much addicted to the activities of official agents of the state that in some of the activities that he was doing, he, I would say, copied what we see being done by other international agencies, but also what is being shown in the movies. You'll understand that at times, often, informers don't even give a statement. So informants will come with the information to say, this is what we have. But then normally informants in South African police services often use audio recording devices, audio visuals. So if I'm coming to meet up with you, I'll have things plugged on me, and that will work as audio and digital evidence. And then that will be transcribed, and perhaps then another affidavit will be deposed to support the digital evidence that emerged from the transaction. Not that an informer himself has to come and write an affidavit to implicate their targets. So I think that's where it was, there was a misconjecture around whether Mr. Mkhwanazi was doing lawful activities of the state, or he was actually part of a cartel that might have misused him unaware. Because if you listen to the depth of the criminal activities that occurred, it would have not been easy, especially if you are not trained, to understand whether you are really still serving the interest of the state or you are just being misused for political activities.
Yeah, and of course, when you speak about the fact, that there was a lack of evidence there, it would be the same when it came to Mary de Haas, as she also made claims that, were essentially ruled as hearsay by Parliament. All right, thank you so much for your time, Thabang Bogopa, the criminal expert, giving a reflection of what we heard this week from the Madlanga Commission as well as Parliament's ad hoc committee into the interference of these SAPS